Take me higher. Now I'm losing control.
Hey everyone, welcome to Living in the Question. I'm Maddy.
I'm Sadie.
And today we have a pretty cool topic that I think everyone's going to resonate with.
Yeah, it's very relevant for all of us humans, so I think it will be good. Yeah.
How are you this morning, Sade?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Speaking of our topic, I did not listen to my body and did not get enough sleep last night, but we're here and we're doing it and I have a full day ahead, so here we go.
Yeah, and here in Utah, we're looking forward to our first snow this evening, which is exciting and crazy.
Really? I didn't know it was gonna.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow like 20 inches in the mountains here, so
Shut up!
we're excited.
I'm so excited. Snowboarding season's coming up.
It's coming up.
I can't even wait. That's going to be so fun. I was driving
first. Spooky season.
Oh, yeah. We got to do that first.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I just barely actually this morning had Odin's Halloween costume on my porch, so I'm excited to show it to him. And
what's he gonna be?
Okay, I was feeling really weird about this because I'm like, a 5-year-old, like, do you let them be something really scary, right? Because like he has bad dreams about this thing, right? That he wants to be, and now he wants to be it. And I'm like, okay, so it's the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, that is kind of freaky, but he's like, Mom, I want to be the Grim Reaper. I want to be something scary. And I'm like, okay, this is the time to do it. Like Halloween's about spooky, like being spooky and scared, and
kind of like touching on that part of ourselves that's, our shadow or attracted to kind of the darkness, right? I think that's in a lot of us, maybe all of us, but
100%, yeah.
Right, the light and dark exist in both of us. So I kind of like that. I've been thinking about Halloween and how it even came to be, and it's interesting to think that we created a whole holiday where it's accepted to be creepy or kind of
start putting up the scariest decorations. Like there's a lady down the street that goes all out, and there's some fucked up decorations in her yard, but I'm like, no, here we are. Like this is
That's so funny, Kate. Yeah, I'm gonna have to share a picture of my Halloween decorations because my boyfriend and I made creepy, spooky dolls. Oh, they're scary. Even so, my parents' dog came over and he ran over and he looked at the dolls and then he just started barking at them because they were just staring at him and he didn't know what to do. He would kind of go up to him and then run away.
Oh my gosh, maybe
hilarious.
Maybe you need to go get them and show us just for the
okay, they're right here.
If you guys aren't watching on YouTube, get on it because we're gonna start doing little things like this and showing you things that you can't necessarily see on the audio. So
I'm coming back.
Okay.
Oh, you guys are about to be who are we listening to?
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
I love that you made them.
All right. First, creepy baby clown.
Oh my gosh, that is creepy.
I made this one.
Let me see its eyes. I gotta see closer. Oh my gosh. I like it. How did you put the thing on its head?
Okay, this is literally like a cupcake decoration that I just stabbed into.
Hey, it's very fitting.
Okay, it gets even darker, all right?
Okay, I'm ready. Oh.
Look, it even has a through its heart.
Oh my gosh, did you paint it?
Yes, and I put all of these in its head.
Oh my gosh, that's so creepy. That just reminded me of Toy Story. Do you remember that one?
Yes. Oh, no, which one?
It's like Andy's toy, but it's all fucked up and it has nails in its head and
oh yeah,
all freaked out.
Yes. Well, honestly, having these dolls in our house has kind of spooked us both out. We've been like, that's creepy. I don't know. Okay, this was one that my boyfriend made. It's like a scary Joker.
Uh-huh.
Bleeding, gushing. Even made textured hair. That was fun. Okay, but the last one I have to show.
You guys come look at this on YouTube because Maddie
Yeah.
has made some
I've
real.
been hard at work. There's a lot more of them,
Oh,
FYI, but I'm only showing you these ones. But this is the truly scary one.
dude. Is that
Guess
like
what her name is?
what?
Ashley Bell. Like Annabelle.
Uh-uh.
Yes, that's what it
Wait,
says.
is that like a porcelain doll?
Yes.
Dude, when I was little, okay, I'm just gonna say this, then we're gonna jump into our topic. But
Okay.
when I was little, I had a whole curio cabinet in the corner of my room of porcelain dolls.
Me too. Were
They're,
they Madame Alexander dolls?
I don't remember exactly what they were, but they were all different ones, and like they're freaking creepy. I would feel like they were watching me at night.
Yeah, there's something about them.
No. So thanks for that, Matt. We're into Halloween season. We love that.
Yay.
I love that.
Also, if you guys want to send over recommendations for Halloween movies, I've been watching one every single night.
Ooh.
So if you have a good scary movie, please send. And you and I should watch one.
We should do that. That would be so
So
fun.
fun.
Oh my gosh, it would be fun to like watch one together and like stream it somehow.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Do that. That would be way fun. Maybe for our
Commentary
100th
over.
episode, we'll do that. We'll watch a movie, have a movie night, and we can stream it and watch it together with whoever wants to participate. I
I
love
love
that.
that.
Okay, so total shift of gears, but we're going to get into our topic today.
Let's do it.
So, Maddie said she sent me this topic and was like, I want to talk about like holistic health and all these kinds of things. And I just started thinking, and like the first thing that came to my mind was the fact that I am in a space of just having such a hard time taking care of my physical body. It's like I'm so aware of so many things in my mental and emotional world, right? But my physical is lacking in a big way. And I'm really just noticing how much I don't take care of that part of myself. And like when it shows up that like I'm pushing my limits physically, I'll just ignore it. And so this was a really good topic for us to talk about today because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm right there. Like I need all of these tips from Maddie because she is so good with all these things, and I'm just excited to talk about it with you.
Yeah, well, that's why I even thought of this topic is because for me, I'm pretty I try to live a balanced life, but sometimes I think, oh, resting is best for me, but I actually need to like work out or I need to like walk. I need to start challenging my body physically a little bit more. And so I've been doing that for pretty consistently for like 2 weeks now. And man, it's crazy the things that come up. It's not just the physical, like, oh, this is tough for me. It's the mental challenge of it all that has really put some things into perspective for me and just made me realize like how important it is to approach our health from a holistic standpoint. And so we're going to talk about what that means. And if you want to go ahead and share like what holistic health is to us.
Yeah. Well, let's start off first with what happened this morning because as I was driving home this morning from Salt Lake, I stayed at somebody's house. And so, yeah, so that was good, but didn't get enough sleep. And also, I was driving home this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really need to do yoga this morning before we do the podcast. Like, let me do some yoga. And then, of course, because I'm going to be doing something healthy for myself, my mind starts going and it's like, well, what could I do to be more productive, right? So immediately I'm like, oh, I should go start cleaning the office building that I clean on the weekends before the podcast instead. So, of course, you know, my gut is telling me go home, do yoga, let your body wake up, like let's take this easy, and I'm ignoring it. And so I go to the office to go start cleaning. I try to get in and the door won't open. And I'm like, oh, I just knew immediately. Like I felt like I got smacked across the face and it was like, told ya. Like should have listened. Like you need to go home and do yoga. So of course I came right home, set up my yoga mat right when I walked in the door because I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't do it. And set the yoga mat up. And all of the thoughts start running again of all the things I could be doing except this thing, right? That I know that I need. Like, why
Yeah.
is it so hard to do the thing you know your body needs? So
Right.
that got me thinking, which we can talk a little bit more about that later. But I decided to do yoga. And of course, the first one that comes up is healthy body yoga with Adriene. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Right on theme for today. So I just like sat down and I was like, okay, I just had this idea come to my mind where I'm like, I'm gonna like today doing this healthy body yoga, about to record a podcast about healthy body, mind, spirit. I'm going to be aware of every single thought that comes up for me in this 20-minute practice and write them down and notice like what pulls me out of my flow and like just see what happens,
Yeah.
right? Let's do a little
Cool.
experiment. So I did, and the first thing that came up for me was immediately just the resistance. Like I was writing down, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, and then the resistance pops up, and I'm like feeling it, feeling myself having a hard time pushing play. It's like that immediate, like, get down on the floor, push
Mhm.
play. Like I know the steps I have to take, but the resistance is already there, right? So then I just had this, or right as I started the yoga video, Yoga with Adriene, she immediately says how important surrender is for a happy and healthy body. And I was like, okay, fine, fuck it. Like I'm surrendering.
Yeah.
And so immediately, right? Like my whole morning was just so synchronistic. So the first thing I notice is just how tight I am, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so tight. Like, oh, we both like stretch. But like I immediately just noticed like, oh, getting down on the floor like hurts, you know? Like every little joint is like achy and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So as I start the yoga practice, the first thought that comes up is I should be preparing for the pod right now instead of doing this. And of course, I just recognize it as a thought. Also notice the word should, right? And
Hmm.
immediately after, the next thought is, oh man, I should be doing yoga every day. I'm like, oh, look at the
Like,
contrast.
how am I gonna win?
Ah, literally. I'm
I'm
like,
here doing the yoga and I'm still shooting myself.
right. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. I am doing it. Like, okay, let's just push that one aside, right? Just let it be. So then I get like halfway through the yoga practice. I feel like I'm like really in it. And then I start getting like, it was more of a flow, right? So I kind of start getting tired. And like my body's like, oh, I'm tired. Like I should just stop. Like maybe I should just take a break, pause the video, take a few breaths. And then right as I'm thinking that, at that moment, she mentions how important it is to breathe and to take a second. And she slows the video down and she just says, everyone, just like be aware of your breath. Let's slow it down for a second. Let's come back in. And I just had this like overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, like this is what I need to do every single day, right? But again, this is what I need to do. Not this is what I'm doing. Like it's
Mhm.
still this thing of pushing myself to do more, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, so I'm just kind of riding the waves, right? At the end again, she takes a moment, does your hands to your heart, the prayer, and just says, just take a moment now and just notice how you feel after doing all of this. And again, right? Coming back to the present. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I feel like I had this light bulb go off where it's like, how often do I do this throughout my day? Like, stop. Like, it was only a 20-minute yoga practice. She did it 3 times. Like, continually kept like coming back in. Like, wait, let me take a second and just like, okay, how do I feel right now?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like being able to do that. And so it just, yeah, it felt like a big light bulb moment of, oh man, this is what I need to do throughout my busy go, go, go life. Like I
Yeah.
talk about that all the time on this podcast, how much I'm that way. I'm always pushing to
Mhm.
do more and be more productive and do all the things, right? We're
Mhm.
very similar in that way. But to just stop for a second and be like, oh, let me just notice how I feel like in my body
Check
and
back.
how valuable that is. Yeah. Right. What'd you say, man?
Oh, I said just taking that very brief moment to check back in with yourself.
Yes. Yes. So we are going to start this episode just with the start of that practice. There's a YouTube video, you guys, it's called Healthy Body. We're going to cite this in the notes, but it's Healthy Body Yoga with Adriene. So we're just going to all take a second right here, right now to just listen to this and do it along with Adriene and just listen to her wise words, because every yoga video, she has the wise words, but how on point this was for today, I couldn't help but want to play this for you guys. She says it's so perfect.
Perfect.
So let's do that. I'm going to turn it up. All right, there we go. Everyone just sit down. You know, if you're driving, just take a deep breath and just like settle into your space for a second and just, you know, take this in.
We'll just give a couple moments to get into place here and to just drop into the present. Notice how you feel mentally and emotionally as we begin to check in with the body physically. So a happy and healthy body, a happy and healthy yoga body is one that is united, right? Yoga, union. So this Trinity, this three-part of the mind and the body and the spirit being tended to is where the happy and the healthy truly come from. So set yourself up for greatness. Hopefully you're here by now. We're just going to make sure that
That's so great.
How perfect it is and how true it is. Like, that's what we want to talk about today. How important it is to have this Holy Trinity, right? We're going to call it that right now. The Holy Trinity of the mind, body, and the spirit all being aligned in the same space and aligned to like be great, right? Like to have a greater purpose and be better and be a greater version of yourself than you are today. Like to constantly, you know, have that thought in your mind to just keep trying to align those three things. I truly feel like is so important, and we're going to break it down for you.
Well said.
Here you go. So we're just going to start with holistic health in general, because I feel like as we're talking about mind, body, spirit, and aligning all of these things, like that's under the umbrella of holistic health. So we are going to just define that for you real quick. Maddy, do you have a definition of like what is holistic health?
So holistic health is an approach to life that considers multidimensional aspects of wellness. So you're just looking at every aspect that makes you a whole person. And there's a lot, right? There's your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. There's so many dynamics that make us well. Right. And the union of all of those parts is when we feel our best. So we're going to dive in and talk about each part. And we won't be able to cover every single aspect that makes a person well, but we're going to go over the main ones. Also, I wanted to talk about like the difference between holistic health and conventional medicine, because I try to approach life from that standpoint. And I think the difference is that with holistic health, you're addressing the root of an ailment or the root of how you feel, whether that's good or bad, versus bandaging over it like we do with conventional medicine.
Right. If you think about it, like you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, I'm having this symptom, and they treat the symptom, and it's like, but I'm still having the root issue. Like this treated the symptom and now that's gone, but guess what? Something else is always going to show up because there's something going on in a deeper place. But I feel like it's so important at the beginning of all of that, right? To like tune in, to be able to even know what's going on in your mental, spiritual, you know, physical body or world, right? Whatever that is. So I think that's so important.
Yeah. Let's dive into the core elements of holistic health. Like what comes to mind for you of your health and well-being when you think of like the core elements?
Well, immediately my first thought is just mental well-being, right? Like if you're not mentally well and you're so scatterbrained or whatever it is that's going on in your mental, right? If that is not well or balanced or whatever, right? Then I feel like where can you go from there? A lot of us live out of our heads and like dictate our world through what's going on in our mind. So I feel like that is a huge one.
Well, right, when you think about when you're not mentally well, you're probably not eating healthy, you're probably not making choices from a sound place. You might be doing radical things because you're not stable, you're not balanced. I think for me, when I'm like not in a healthy mental state, I tend to go for comfort food, and I just want to fill this void or this discomfort that I'm feeling, or I'm not getting good sleep, or I'm sleeping too much. Like it kind of throws off all of these elements of my well-being.
Yes, and also a big one is like the food that you eat, right? For your physical body, which Maddy, I'm just gonna say, is so good at eating healthy. And I have always like idolized you for that. And you always say like, you'll tell me like, oh, I'm struggling with eating healthy, and you say those things, but I'm like, Maddy, you eat so good, and literally I idolize you for that, and I look up to you for that because I'm just like, I need to eat better like Maddy. I always think of that all the time. That's why for Christmas, I wanted recipe cards of your recipes because they're just so good. And like you put so much like time and care into the food that you feed yourself and what is in the food.
Oh, well, thank you. I think for me, the reason that's the case is because I had that example from my mom. She cared a lot about that, but she also had that balance of like making food that tasted good, that was healthy. So that's for me why I think it's easier for me, because I care about eating tasty, delicious food, but I know how to make healthy recipes that satiate me, you know? But with that, the reason that I keep continuing to practice eating healthy and doing, cooking is because it is like this holistic thing for me. It's a holistic practice. Not only am I feeding myself healthy, nutritional food, but I also get so much out of doing it because it makes me feel proud that I'm preparing a meal for myself or for someone else, and knowing what I'm eating and saving money. So for me, it does more than one thing. It's not just, okay, I'm being fed, but I'm being fed in other ways of like building my confidence and making me feel like accomplished, So that's what we're kind of talking about with this holistic health, is like, it's not just doing the thing because you should do it. We're trying to actually remove the shoulds, these aspects of like, I should be working out, I should get a gym pass, I should. When you do that, you're kind of reducing yourself in another way because you're shaming yourself about what you're not doing. And that is demoting a part of your well-being because you're not being kind to yourself, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I want to say too though that like everyone has that. So like if you're doing the shoulds, it's okay because like it's normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I love what you said about even just like the food that you're making, like being conscious about what you're putting in your body, like creating, awareness around those things and being more conscious about the ingredients that you're buying, or not buying the box dinner because who knows what the fuck's in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like being able to be more like a more conscious creator of what is going in your body and creating the food, and just really relishing in each step of it. I love that.
I think there is a lot of opportunity to improve your health right now because there's so much science on the gut and brain interconnectivity. So your gut microbiome completely affects your brain, your mood, if you have depression, your ability to like cope with life literally is dependent on your gut, and vice versa. So if you're stressed, your gut microbiome is going to be affected. It thins the lining of your stomach, which leads to leaky gut. Like there's so many things about gut health right now that you can research and learn about, but the interconnectivity of our mental and physical well-being is crazy. And I think prioritizing that, especially through nutrition and what you're intaking in your body, is so important. And I think that's the first thing that we could all work on. Like, I think that's like, to me, that kind of is the core element, right? Because we need food and water. That's on the hierarchy of needs, that's the basic one, and sleep.
Yes, and can I just say I've been thinking about this so much lately, just like the physicality of our bodies. Like, we only get one body.
Mhm.
No, every year I get older, my body hurts more, you know? And I
Yeah.
feel different things that are coming up that I'm just like, oh, this is uncomfortable in my body. And it's like, okay, wait, like, I don't think I was really taught growing up to focus on the fact that we only have one body and like, what are we feeding it? What are we putting like into our physical body that, you know, makes us mentally well? Or like, I don't think that I had a lot of awareness around that stuff growing up. So now, right, I'm trying to like backtrack and be like, okay, now what can I do? Because I'm falling
Yes.
apart. But I don't know.
No.
That just blows my mind that I think there's so many people out there in the world today just not focusing on taking care of their physical self to be able to then be healthy in other ways. That's
Yes.
the core, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll say it is empowering with knowledge and a little bit of education on these things, like how much you can control and take action towards being well. Like to me, that's exciting because there's so much we can do. And I get excited about this stuff because I'm starting to become passionate about things like, mushroom coffee or mushroom supplements to increase your wellness. And it's so impressive the things that these natural products can do for us, like mushrooms. They can literally help your brain form new neurological pathways. That is huge. That means more of your brain is firing and you are able to do more. Like, for instance, with me, I'm trying to learn a new language, which challenges and grows new synapses in your brain. But if I take mushrooms, those are going to help me do this.
Right.
So it's like, I just like that there's this opportunity to benefit yourself in these ways. And there's simple things like I simply take a mushroom supplement each day and I know that I'm actually doing something great for my body. Like,
Yeah.
what a little win. I love that. I love like simple wins for me, keep me going.
Even just like being aware of like what vitamins maybe you're lacking in, like taking those vitamins, right? Making sure they're the healthy ones that are giving you like the right vitamins, things like that, but also just like probiotics, things like that can really help in a lot of those ways. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that could help us, right? And it really is as simple as going to get your blood work done and seeing what you're low in and maybe, supplementing those things and just seeing what happens. Like it can be that small of a shift that helps in some huge ways. So another one that I want to say too is like we were kind of talking about, but like the mental and emotional well-being. What are some things that you feel like help you get into like a healthier mental space or emotional space, right? What do you feel like some of those things are?
I think for me right now, what I've been embracing is physical activity for my mental health. And it's not always easy because I work all day and I stand on my feet on concrete floors for 8 hours a day. And I feel like, okay, I've been physical all day. Like I've been walking, I walk fast at work, but pushing myself after work to go on a walk or on a hike, it's not easy because I'd rather just lay on the couch and watch a show. But every time I do it, I feel so proud. I've got those endorphins going in my body. I've created this space for myself to just decompress, let go of what's already happened throughout my day. So for me, like physical exercise, and honestly, I always choose to do something that I enjoy. Like I like a neighborhood stroll. I like a hike in the mountains, in the woods. I like yoga. I'm not hating on people who like go to the gym. I think that's awesome. But for me, the best form of exercise is what you enjoy doing. And so for me, that's a huge aspect of my mental health. What about for you?
I honestly feel like at the core of all of it, it's just breathing. Like I notice myself not breathing throughout the day. Like I'll be holding my breath. And, over the last, I don't know, long time, I feel like I've been aware of the fact that I do that. So I'll notice myself, start to feel like anxious or something and just like, like a full breath in and out, and everything is like, oh yeah, okay, I don't gotta stress so much or whatever it is, right? But something that Adrian was saying too this morning in that podcast was how important it is to breathe and just to take a second. And also, we're literally changing the chemical makeup of our brain when we breathe. We're
Yes.
literally shifting it. And when we take like these long, beautiful breaths and just bring in the awareness of breath, like that's such a small thing. We breathe all day, every day. You know what I mean? But being aware of the fact that you're like taking in this breath, that helps me more than anything. Like when I'm feeling extremely emotional or, right, like mentally stressed or all that kind of stuff. But also just being aware of what's going on in my head and
Yeah.
knowing that they're just thoughts. I feel like that helps me a lot too, being aware of the hamster running on the wheel, right? And like what it's thinking and what it's trying to make me do and whatever. And just being
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's going on up there. Okay. And like I don't have to
Right.
attach to those things, right? So I feel like that's a big way for me to, yeah, when I'm feeling stressed or the emotions are coming up, like tap into what's going on up there and like, oh, okay, I don't have to attach to that, right?
Well, yeah, I love that you said breathing because your breath work is the fastest, most effective way to regulate your nervous system. Like
Right.
there's no better way. That's the way. So that's a great example and honestly a perfect suggestion. I also notice I hold my breath. And
Yeah,
it's like, ugh, we don't need to be doing that. We need to be breathing.
gotta breathe. It's so real.
Well,
Okay,
think how stressful it is when you like get the wind knocked out of you and you
yeah,
don't have breath. Like you're kind of doing that to yourself all day long.
yeah, that's
That's
stressful. Oh my gosh.
So if you're watching on the YouTube, I have to drive to go get an oil change right now. And me and Maddie are running late. So I'm going to start recording from the car. So everyone, again, go watch the YouTube if you want to see me driving in my car. That's really dumb, but you know, you get to see all these little shifts and changes when you watch on YouTube. And if you don't watch on YouTube, then get on it because it's more fun. Okay?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so for mental well-being, I also think that we should touch on meditation. We always do, but again, there are so many ways to meditate and to create space for yourself to process your life and yeah, to just invite this idea of wholeness into your life, right? For me, I like to do walking meditations. That for me is somehow much easier than the sitting quiet meditation. What about for you? Like, how do you feel like you embrace meditation in your life? I know you do it a lot because of school.
Yeah, I honestly should do it more. Like, there's a lot of,
See, we're doing the should.
yeah, but you know, I really feel like like when I break it down, like when I say that to myself, oh, I should be meditating, like I always remind myself that I am, like throughout my day. I am meditating in these little ways, right? Like I'm taking in the leaves on the trees, or I go out on my back porch when I come home for like on my lunch break for work, and I literally just sit on my back porch for the first like 5 minutes and just breathe and just look at my backyard and take in the sky and just take in my surroundings. So I feel like that's a big way that I meditate and just try to slow down a little bit, is just by taking in the surroundings. And it's not just by looking at them, right? It's not just like looking at the things that are around you. It's like actually feeling them and opening your heart to them and seeing what arises for you, right? So I feel like that's the biggest way that I meditate. Also in the shower, I really bring awareness almost every time when I'm showering to like rinsing off all of the old energy on my body, like letting it wash away, like the cleansing of it all. I feel like I'm very intentional with that when I shower. So I can just start fresh, right?
Right. Well, and I think at the core of all of this is the intention. It's your intentionality towards your life and embracing that in all different ways. Like you can apply symbolic meaning to anything that you do and transform your life. Like, oh, I'm going to go get a haircut. Well, hair holds energy. And, maybe you need a refresh. Maybe you need to let go of something. Like you are the creator of your life, and if you choose to make things meaningful, they will be. They are, because you decided
Right.
that they were.
Right, which kind of brings us into the next core of holistic health is environment and creating the right environment to be able to heal and be healthy in your own space. Literally the biggest one, because it's everything. If your house is chaos and you come home and there's dishes and there's laundry you got to do and there's just like, you know, all this shit everywhere, things that are like collecting energy and collecting stress, how are you then going to come home and take a deep breath? You know what I mean? Like those little things that you feel like, you know, you should always do, like being able to do those things and, you know, create the space to be able to heal in a more healthy way.
Right. And it can be like physical stressors, or it can be mental stressors. Like, I was thinking about this environment aspect as well, and how to create like a supportive living environment and space. A lot of that is just eliminating stressors and being aware what might subtly be wearing you down. Sometimes it's those little things you don't even notice anymore. Like, they talk about house blindness. I get that. Like, when I've been living here alone, and but then once my boyfriend moved in, I suddenly was aware of all these different things, the dust, the places that I hadn't cleaned, you know? It's like what subtly every day is kind of wearing you down, and start eliminating those things. When you and I were chatting, I mentioned like I had a medical bill that I was making minimum payments on, even though I had the money to pay for it. And every month having to do the task of calling the billing center or whatever just kind of wore me down. And finally I was like, I'm just paying this off. I'm so glad I did that, because I could do that. I knew that I could do it, and I just chose to do it. And now I don't have to think about it ever again.
Now it's completely gone and washed clean. Like, you don't have to think about it anymore. Also, like, just thinking about that too, I feel like it's also really important because we're talking about energy too, right? Like, energetically, if your energy body is packed down with so much shit, and you just feel like you have all of this energy just stuck in all these areas of your body, you're having pain, you're whatever it is, right? Like, if you are like carrying so much in your energy body, how are you then gonna go and eat a healthy meal? You know what I mean? Like, it's way harder to do those things
When you're
and that kind of the intentionality. Yes, but it goes back to the intentionality of cleansing your energy as well. So being able to cleanse your energy body, like go get a Reiki session, because Reiki literally addresses that stuck energy that's in your body that you're not aware of, that's like holding you back in more ways than you know. So just go get an energy cleansing, or go in the mountains and take your shoes off and stand barefoot in the earth,
or in your grass,
and just like make an intention of sending all of that energy that's unwanted and unnecessary into the earth, and start fresh. Like, have the mindset of starting fresh and being able to do that. So I feel like that's a huge piece of getting your mind, body, and spirit right. If you're carrying around all this shit from weeks ago, like, how do you get your mind, body, and spirit in a healthy space, right?
Yes. So I think the last part that we need to touch on is spirituality. We've talked about the mind, we've talked about the body, and now we are talking about the spirit. And there are so many things that you're able to do. Your suggestions are amazing. I also think, like, you know, burn some sage, cleanse your home, cleanse yourself, you know, give yourself a good cleansing. It's that act of cleansing yourself and setting that intention of, I'm releasing what is not serving me in this moment, that surrender, and coming out anew. You don't have to do drastic things.
As you say that, I'm like driving and it's all cloudy. It's been raining all day. And as you say that, the sun is just opening up in the clouds.
Beautiful.
So yes, literally the sun just like hit my face and I'm like, oh, there you are. Like,
I can see it glowing on your face.
Yeah, like cleanse the space. And also I don't know why, but I just have a little pro tip for cleansing, right? With sage or Palo Santo. Obviously, it's always about intention when you're cleansing, but when you are cleansing, try to do it in a circular motion because it helps the things move through. Start at your head, go to your toe, and move the sage in like a circular motion. And it really does help to like stir up all the stuff and let it out. So I just have to say that as we're talking about saging.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
And also, I like the idea of just practicing gratitude. Such an easy way to shift your perception, your emotional well-being. Think of what you're grateful for and allow that to guide your day and your thought processes.
Yes, I love that.
You were touching on Reiki, and I just wanted to go over like some holistic approaches that you can take to increase your well-being.
So I want to say one thing too about, I mean, this goes along with this, but also the spirituality aspect, like feeding your spiritual self. Like if you are a religious person and you don't go to church, like that's fine. You still can feed your spiritual self. And I feel like that comes in ways of learning something new, like being able to read a book about something that you've been interested in, or something that is going to like help your mind, body, spirit, right? Something that's uplifting, maybe reading a quote, right? Or putting a quote on your mirror that you can see every day that is going to like boost your spiritual self, just to know that like you are a soul in here and this life is chaos and crazy, but also like let's nourish this mind, body, spirit especially, and know that like you are a divine being, right? You're a divine being in there, and that soul like needs to be fed as well. So being able to do those little practices, or like we're saying, slowing down, breathing, like the meditating, all of these things go into one because they're all as equally as important.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because today I saw on social media my cousins in Hawaii on a retreat, on a women's retreat, and she posted that she got to see turtles going back into the ocean this morning, and she's like, it made me feel like a kid again to be so excited about the turtles. And it got me thinking, we refer to this childlike play and childlike wonder all the time, and I was thinking, I'm like, it's interesting we refer so much to this part of childlike play, childlike wonder. Why don't we refer to it as human wonder, human-like play? Because that is our core. That is actually who we are. But I think we relate to it so much as when we think about being a child, because there was that carefreeness. And I think that we need to recognize it as a part of who we are now as adults. Right. It's who we are as humans, not just as children.
Right. Yes. Which again is like the energy cleansing thing, right? Like removing all of everything that bogs you down about the world. Like as adults, all that stuff now we have to worry about. So like removing those things that like naturally cause you stress, and being able to just, be like a child, like let yourself explore and be curious and excited about the little things, and, like let that little part of you come out, because it is in there. And that is, like you said, a huge core part of us, right? I love that.
Yeah. So maybe it's like embracing the wonder of life,
right?
Letting yourself be curious about life. Maybe living in the question, if you will.
That's perfect. So that's going to be our challenge, is you guys let yourself play little and embrace what's around you, and also be curious about what's going on in your mind, body, spirit. What things can you shift, and take it one step at a time. Breathe first. Okay. So I love that. This was beautiful. Thank you, Maddy.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Like today's gonna be so beautiful after this episode. Like I feel happy. I feel like this smile on my face is just so genuine.
Yep.
And I'm ready to carpe diem, embrace the day.
Ooh, love it. So all of you out there, go embrace your day. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. You're the best. And I love you, Maddy.
I love you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.